What's up, everybody? I'm back on the Hexa chain. Of course, I'm going to be touching on this in several videos. The next few when I go cutting. It's not what it's all it's going to be about. I'm going to use them when I cut, but I cut some with it. I'm going to have to splice two videos together because I touched some on it yesterday. Cut with it, looked at the raker heights. The first video, I didn't get everything in that I wanted to get in, talking about it and thinking about things. It was kind of spur of the moment. I just had picked it up or whatever. So I looked at the raker heights because I seen a video showing and not disputing the fact that they were extremely low. They do kind of set funny in the raker gauge, but I don't know that they're any lower than a factory steel chain from the factory. It's a 33 RS chain from the factory or whatever. I picked me up some files. That's what I touched on this video. I did pick up files. If you call your dealer and ask them, or go up there and ask them if they can order files, and they tell you no, that they're on back order, check somewhere else. And the same with the chain, because here's the deal. I called my dealer after I got these chain. I called the dealer about the files, right? And I need files because I ordered two chains and I want to keep them hexa. Yeah, I could use a round file or put them on the grinder and change it, but I want to run hexa chain to see what it's about. What little bit I ran it yesterday, it really cuts smooth and good, and it is sharp. Is it faster than regular steel chain? I don't know. We'll see. Or faster than we might get a loop of the EXL or the hose former chain that I'm so crazy about. If I can find one that, well, I do have a hose former chain that has not been in the wood that I broke some loops off. So I'll get some different chains and compare them when I get some better wood. Right now I'm kind of low on wood, big wood, to really showcase any of the saw's power I got or do the chain any justice, really. All I've got stuff's up about 10 to 15 inches round, and you can't really tell much in that amount of time that it takes to cut that. You need something 2 foot, 30 inches. I'd like to have something closer to 3 foot to cut on to try my 3 foot bar and all that kind of stuff. Would like it to have it pretty hardwood and then some softwood too, just so I can really do a good comparison. Good night. This weather's killing me. It is 20 degrees one day and 70 the next. It was like 66 degrees a day, and it's the 7th or 8th of December. I mean, it's just, heck, I can't get right with this weather. Coughing and hacking seems like since I had the COVID or whatever, um, I'm hacking and snorting and wheezing. I'm like old buck, snorting and wheezing. All right, so anyway, but anyway, I cut with it some and some little wood. It felt really good and it was pretty smooth. I don't think it was terribly hungry. Maybe hungrier than square ground. I watched Guilty of Treason's video with he was comparing several different chains, and then he used it when he was felling some, and he said it seemed a little hungrier than the square ground he was using, and it could have been because that apparently had been filed, the square ground had, or been sharpened, and of course once you sharpen one, you can kind of do a little more with the rakers than you can from the factory, unless you want to take them lower. You can take a new chain and get them lower, but you can't raise them up none until you file the tooth. So it done all right, but of course I didn't have big wood, so we're gonna. But I got these files, and back to what I was saying, man, we got way off track. So if you call your dealer and they tell you can't, the chain's on back order. I called my dealer here local, my local dealer in town. I said, hey buddy, can you get me some STIHL HEXA files? And I'd called another place a little further away, and they told me they could order them. So I thought, surely. And I said, I hate to drive all that way. Maybe I can get my local guy to have them in stock or whatever. And he said, well, he should be able to because it's the same distributor. We have the same distributor. They're so close, you know. They have the same people. And so I called him, and he said, well, I don't know. He said, are you wanting the 3-in-1, yada, 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 the kit? And I said, no, I just need some files. You know, I have flat files and raker gauges and all that. I just need the files. Okay, well, let me check, and I'll call you back. It was about 2, 3 minutes, 5 minutes at the most. He called me back, and he said, no, everything's on back order for that STIHL HEXA chain. And I thought, okay. That's kind of odd because I've already got 2 loops of it from somebody that should be the same distributor. And so I called the other place back, and I said, hey, man, can you get me some of those files? And he said, well, I just placed my order, but let me see what I can do. And he, you know, he called me back, and he's like, well, yeah, I can get them. He said it's going to be a little bit on shipping unless you wait till I place another order. And I said, no, just go ahead and order them. I don't want to wait. I want to get them as quick as I can. Because I said, well, if you order them today, when will it be? He said, we'll have them tomorrow, which was today. So I said, okay. I said, go ahead and order them. So they did, and here they are. So just because one STIHL dealer says that they can't get something, and even if one's 30 minutes down the road, don't mean the other one can't get it, because right here's proof. I've got the hexa chain and I've got the hexa files, 5 of them as a matter of fact. $10 a piece is what they are. I don't know how that compares to regular chain or regular files. I can't remember. The regular files come in the same kind of skirts as this, but I don't know the cost of them. I can't remember, you know. They all come in these vinyl packs. Sometimes there's a 3-pack of them, but these just come in a single pack. But I got 4, and I done that's what the package looks like. I've got 4, and I've got my 5th one out. And the reason why I've got my 5th one out, no, I haven't cut enough with the STIHL HEXA chains that I have to, you know, be filing on them. But I do have a STIHL chain here that I ran on my 2-foot bar that needed to be sharpened. And I was just trying it out. And to me, if you're going to do it with a hexa, you probably want to have it on your saw and have it fairly tight, or have it on a bar where you can put a bar wrench under it. That's what I do sometimes, so the tooth ain't rocking back and forth. But this was a round ground chain, and what I done is I done just a couple teeth and got the hexa in it. I think that's it right there, yeah. So I got the hexa in it. Well, I'm just going to take y'all out of the stand. I'll move y'all back, sorry. So we can get that. Right, then I'll move y'all. I'm going to slide you back till we get there so you ain't getting just shook too terribly bad. But there's one of the ones I, maybe. No, that's it. There's one of the ones I done on my offhand. Reaching over the file, and it done fairly good. And then here's one. Is that it? I need to go up one. Sorry. Trying to look through the phone and done that. Do this. But there's one I done going kind of the normal way or whatever. But anyhow, so, and I done this one. I done all of them on this side. Just checking out. And I'm going to tell you, converting it to the hexa from a regular chain, and you can see the rest of them over here is just regular round file or whatever. Well, that one ain't, because I did that one, but this one is. You know, I played with them some. That one I filed a little bit. No, not that one. That one I did a little bit with the hexa. That's round file, that is too. So anyway, like 2 or 3 passes, and I was pretty well having it getting the angle of the hexa already. So it you know, it ain't like you're gonna have to do 200 strokes to get it converted. So you know what the hexa looks like, and that's what I want to talk about too. You know, I was playing with my grinder, my grinding wheel, putting that one bevel in it, and honestly, to me, the hexa is just getting the top plate and kind of leaving, because here's one I ground on my grinder, and it's fairly close to the hexa. It ain't quite that. I could change the profile on my stone and get it, but typically what I'm doing is just kind of getting the top plate. And I'll show you a host forma chain that has not been ground or nothing. It's brand new. And the EXL and a lot of the newer chain is going to this kind of grind because it cuts really good out of the box. I mean, right there. There's quite a bit of gullet there, you know, in a way, if you want to say that. But here's the deal. Here's why I think the gullet matters. I don't think you necessarily have to get the gullet. Unless you're using a traditional file. The only reason why I believe if you have a gullet in using a traditional round file chain is because you're not getting up under the top of the top plate, the part that actually cuts and throws ships. They throw ships. Y'all seen the chain throw ships? Ship fire. It's not getting under there to I'm an idiot. It's not getting up in under that top plate where it actually cuts with a traditional round file. So if you're using a traditional round file, you pretty much got to get the gullet, or it's not going to cut because you're not sharpening the tooth to its potential. But if you're using a grinder, or say using a grinder like mine, well, unless you really throw the angle off, I did grind some that just barely did the top plate and left a lot of the side plate. But like you see that new host former chain, it's sloped back, it's canted back pretty good. And it's what I would consider to have a gullet in. And y'all have seen when me cut it new out of the box, racing against the XL and all that. And I think I had the STIHL, and it was right up there with about I think it might have been the fastest chain, if not the fastest. If not, it was very, very close. So, you know, when you're grinding, or even like with this hexa, it's got kind of an angle, and that angle back down, that's not getting the gullet completely out. But here's the deal: the angle of the file is working. The way the file is made, it's still working that top plate. And the same thing with square ground. That's why I think when you look at a square ground chain, there's no gullet out whatsoever, and there's no side. There's that side beak. When a square ground chain pretty well looks like just a corner like this, or like, it's hard for me to show you, but like a scoop in a way. The gullet's in everywhere, and of course, as you bring the tooth back, it changes, but the side plate is even with the top of the corner in a way. The best I can tell on square ground. I haven't messed with a lot of square ground. I may be misspeaking on that. But every chain that I ever seen, it pretty well looks like the side plate and the top corner meet on a square ground chain. They may have a little bit of a side beak or something, but it's the same principle I'm talking about. As long as your file is made to get up under the top plate of the tooth, you don't have to get the gullet out, in a sense. So that's why chains, you always hear, get the gullet, get the gullet, get the gullet. And yes, I agree. If you're using a regular round file of any sort and sharpening chain, then you want to get it to where you get the gullet, because this round file if you've got to gullet in, it's holding your file way out here, and you're not getting up under this top plate like you need to be got up under. So in a sense, what I'm saying is, and this is the new skip. Old form, I don't think it's been cut with very much, but you see, there ain't a big C in that, and there ain't, it's quite a bit. To me, this is what you consider your gullet or whatever, and it's out. I think it's because you got to get under the top tooth of your plate, and I'm talking about this part. I don't know if you'll be able to see it. How good you'll be able to see it, but I'm talking about. It's hard to do on camera. This part right here. You got to get that. And if you got a big ski slope right here, just per se, it's going to be holding your file way out here. And you ain't going to be up under this tooth like what you need to be, see? If I just hit that a couple licks, I don't think it'd be sharp enough. Until I got that round profile in there with a round file. Now I could take I know it wouldn't be. Because you can look right here. And I'm not under the top plate. That's why you gotta have that round gullet. That's why the baby C works. Is because as long as you got this file up under here, which it should be something about like that, you're filing that tooth the way it should be. You're catching this top plate the way it should be. But if you're way out here, you hit this a couple times, you're not getting back to here. So it all depends on what kind of sharpening technique that you're that you're looking for, or not what you're looking for, but the sharpening technique that you're using per se. So I believe that's why all these new kinds of chains are working, and they're not the traditional looking chain. The Baby C chain, even the Hostforma, the EXL has a funky looking tooth, funky looking grind on it. It kind of looks like a square grind and pretty close to a square grind, but it's not quite square grind. I believe that's why the Hexa works, is because this file with the Hexa, you're taking it, and it's this shape right here. This is the top with these lines. The bottom is smooth. My lighting's not very good because Mommy took it to go painting. She's trying to finish the job up. So, but anyhow, so it's smooth there. But what you're doing is this corner right here is in your side plate, and this corner right here is catching your top plate. And this is grinding somewhat on your gullet. This right here is keeping the bottom of your tooth where you can get back in there, where your file can get back there far enough, is what I'm saying, to where you can sharpen it. And I need to set this up and do it a little better, but this is just kind of a rough meal. If you sharpen very many chain and watch very many sharpening videos, or mess with it, or tinker around with sharpening, playing with sharpening, I think you'll kind of understand what I'm saying. And I may be wrong about all that, but that's just my thoughts on it, because that's just my thoughts on it. I don't think that you have to have, or you don't necessarily, sorry, distracted again. that's why I think all these new chains work like they do, is because as long as you're getting up under this top plate, no matter what kind of file you're using or what kind of method you're using, whether it be that grinder over there, the way I've got that set up on a slope. And at first, when I first started grinding, I did kind of mimic that hexa stone that I had. And I broke it, dropped it and broke it, or put it on my, I can't remember, I dropped it or was going to put it on my thing and messed it up, got it on there wrong. But it doesn't matter because a stone's a stone. And after you mess with it so many times, you got to kind of sharpen it, or not sharpen it, but dress it. But see, that's this is the STIHL HEXA stone. I ordered that off of eBay. But see how it's got that ridge in it? That puts you, if you put it at an angle, that gets you on your grinder, that gets you the hexa look. And that's similar to what I was doing in some of those grinding videos I've done. The newer chain that I'm grinding is more like what I call an L, because I'm using the 325 stone, putting a steep angle on it to where it's kind of like a ground baby C in a way. It's not, I don't know if I've got one or not. I'll kick y'all. How about that? Y'all like that? Right here, I got one, but I didn't go crazy on it. But see, and some of them I went down a little further than anticipated on, but some of them I did not. But see, like this one, I use that stone. I've got that hook right there. My tooth is straight, and then there's a little gullet left in. But I think that it doesn't matter because I got, that's getting fuzzy as shit for some reason. I like all this good lighting I got now. Bring you a little bit over here, a little bit closer. But I'm up under that plate. See that shine right there? I'm up under that plate really, really good. There's nothing dull there where it had been in the wood before. If you miss a spot with the grinder, you can tell, or if you ain't taking enough off, because it'll be dirty. It won't be shiny like that. You see, I've got that dude to where it cuts. No matter the C or the hook or the gullet or whatever, I've got that top plate. And it's the same principle with this hexa chain. And I'll get a tooth or a spot that I kind of done one of these on, a pretty decent one. And like I say, I was just kind of playing around. And I'll show you if I can find one real quick. Here's one. Did I done? Yeah, I did. And see, that one's the same way. It's just, it's sharp. Even though I've got a little gullet down here and my side plate's kind of straight, and then on the return side it makes it look kind of like a bevel, but it's pretty similar to what I'm doing with the grinder and pretty similar to what Hostforma and everybody else is doing. STIHL is just calling it Hexa, I believe, for one, to be different, and for two, to be different. But honestly, and I mean, this might not be like the perfect Hexa or whatever, because I hand done it and trying to convert it or whatever, but it's fairly close. But it's no different than the chain I ground with the 325 grinding wheel on a steep angle there. So, that's what I'm getting at. I dropped something. I don't know what it was. I think it's my old file, old son. But it's like this is the bar and chain. Of course, y'all know that. That's a bar and chain. You know that? Some interesting shit right there. But I don't know how we can see this. I'm not taking the chain off because we done kind of looked at it. But I was trying to get it to where you could see some of these plates. Let's see how that is. It's the same deal. They've got the top. They've got this top plate right here, sharp and at the angle they want it. And all the rest doesn't matter. The only thing with the round file is you've got to have that hook or C in it or whatever to be getting up under that top plate. And that's why I think that it works, because I think that it, like I say, it doesn't matter what you use, how you do it, as long as you get that top plate sharp. You don't want shit sticking out past it, and you got to have your rakers right. But I believe that's what it is. So anyway, I've made this video long enough. I've touched on it. These are the hex files. They're $10 a piece. But what I'm getting at, to have a hexa chain or something that cuts like a hexa chain, honestly, all I think you got to do is get that new Husqvarna, and like I say, we're going to do some testing to see if it really matters. They may have the rakers a little different or something. They claim that it is like 10 or 12% faster. Maybe, it may not be. I'm not disputing the fact because I haven't run it other than just a little bit out there. I will tell you it's smooth and it felt good. But, I made some with a pretty big hook, and it was pretty good. It might have been a little aggressive, but I had my angles a little different. And this may be smoother than what I ground over there because of different angles and whatnot. But you can play with it and get it fairly close. And I'll run this chain here that I ground. I think it's a 2-footer. That's one, but this one here that I ground, I think it's a 2-footer. And we'll see. And I'll run some stock chain against it one day that it's nice. And we'll really do some testing with this hexa, like extensive testing. And probably what I'll do is just let the saw do the work. That way that it is fair. Same saw and everything like that. Ran outdoors. I got your saw cleaned up. Got it empty. Running out of gas. Got it all blowed off. Got it cleaned up. I need to box it up. I'm gonna try to do that here in just a minute and get it out to you latter part of the week. And then Weaver, Mr. Justin Weaver, I've still got to get your saw up there to JK. So, but anyway, that's the Pro Saw. It was fairly dirty because I used it some. I started it up last night to run all the fuel out of it. Started up and idled. I didn't think the thing was ever going to run out of fuel, so it should do fairly good. It does have a little dirt and grime on it, but it's a good feeling saw, no doubt about it. I would like to order me another, maybe a 372 Husqvarna Pro and a G660 Husqvarna Pro. I kind of would like to try the Neotech, but I've seen some people have trouble with them. And I know that it's a clone saw, you can have trouble with anything, but I think the standards of these Husqvarna saws are pretty good. So I don't know if I've said the number for this video or not. If I have, go with it or this one. I'll go back and rewatch it. But anyway, the number will be let's do 65, and that'll be the number to do the comment to be entered to win the $395. Anyway, we'll catch y'all later. This is long enough. Y'all have a good evening. We'll see you.